Welcome to Bang Olufsen of Amsterdam. Do you want to experience Beolab 8s in surround? Follow me.
Hi, I'd like to welcome you to Bang Olufsen of Amsterdam. And thank you, Stefano, for inviting me over and letting me see what I think must be the first Beolab 8 surround sound system in Europe.
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct.
Yeah.
And thanks for coming, of course, Steve. You're, of course, always welcome.
Thank you.
But indeed, yeah, these are the first Beolab 8s. Yeah, we had them as first store even in Holland, maybe even Europe. Yeah, and of course, they're amazing.
Yes. So I've been listening to these over the recent weeks. I'm blown away by the sound, but I've only heard 2 of them. So I see we'll show on camera, but you've got 2 fronts and 2 rear speakers here with the theatre. So I thought this would be a great opportunity to talk through what's the best way of using them. And obviously you've heard them in different setups. So what are your thoughts on them?
Yeah, it's a very good question, Steve. Thank you. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, the Beolab 8s are, of course, magnificent speakers as standalone, as stereo, and even as surround. And the twist is only 1 speaker.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Beolab 8s are really amazing. And yeah, we put them here in the surround setting with the theater, a center speaker.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have to say, everybody has their own opinion about it. But yeah, I have to say, I don't mind having them in the front or in the back. It's a very difficult decision.
Yes.
But yeah, it depends, of course, in the space in your room, what you have, and of course, what's available, and what kind of speakers you already have in home.
That's right.
But we've got a lot of customers who already have the theater and are searching for some new experience and sound. Yeah, then I would, if you want to have 1 set, I would recommend them in the back.
Yes.
But again, it depends also on the space and what you want to listen to.
Yeah.
Because if it comes to stereo, if you're really a music lover, I would really recommend them in the front.
Yeah.
Because as stereo speakers, for that small speaker, only a size of a paper, it will blow you away.
Yes.
And if you want to say, I want more movie experience, I would really recommend them in the back. Because the center with 2 back speakers, it gives you a whole new experience.
Yeah,
you
having
will
the
love movies
behind
again.
you is really great. And would you, my own personal thought is when they're behind you, using them in wide mode, how do you feel about that? Have you tried sort of wide and narrow mode for the rear speakers?
Yeah, so again, depends. If I'm watching alone, I would do narrow.
Yeah.
Without thinking narrow, because
so it
then it's really
on
focus on you. But the thing is, of course, me and my wife, if we watch, we want to have the same experience. And I'm not the only one who wants to be blown away. But yeah, if you're watching with more than 2 people, I would recommend the wide mode. Yeah. Because with my wide mode, you have a bigger range. Will give everybody the same feeling, same experience. And that's of course what you want in a movie, like in a cinema. But when you're sitting alone, I would really recommend the narrow.
Yes.
Narrow for the win. Yeah.
So I know before the Beolab 8s were launched, Bang Olufsen said officially, if you had the theatre and you had a pair of Beolab 28s, the 28 should always go at the back.
Yeah.
I thought that's an interesting one. If you've got that set up and you add a pair of Beolab 8s, Bang Olufsen again have said they suggest put them at the front, have the 28s at the back.
Yes.
How do you feel about that? Do you think is that a good option?
Yeah, of course, they've got the reasons for that. Because of the bass, of course, they want to have it separate from the theater.
Yeah.
I have to say, for the looks, I really love to see the 28s.
I do, yes.
And even if I want to listen to music, of course, I will always go for the 28s for the 8s. So I won't put them in the front. So when I listen to only music, I've got the 28s in stereo. And for the back, I've got the 8s. But I really understand from Bang & Olufsen, of course, they want to have the bass and the theater with the 8s separate from each other.
That's
so you've got a bigger experience and more power.
And it helps to calm the room resonances as well. If you've got, because of the big subwoofers on the 28s, if they're a long way from the theatre, then it helps. The analogy that Jeff Martin gave was it's like plucking a guitar string with all 10 fingers. So when you, it's not what you want for a guitar, it dulls the sound, and it dulls the sound of the room when you have the all those woofers from the different speakers spread apart, all making the bass sound together. The room doesn't get boomy and echo in the same way. So I think that's partly why they suggest having the 28s at the back.
Yes.
But I gather also, when the Beolab 8s are in narrow mode, that narrow mode is narrower than on the 28.
That's
so
correct, yeah.
The,
You've got good ears.
yeah, the stereo effect on those Beolab 8s is incredible in narrow mode. It's really, really
It's very
accurate
detailed.
and-
Yeah. Yeah, but also the magic is, of course, also the theater. When you
Yes.
measure it, because the theater, of course, recognizes the speakers when you install them.
Yes.
So it's not just like, oh, it's a back speaker node. We'll say, oh, this is the Beolab 28,
Yeah.
and knows the best part of the 28s, of course, or from the 8s.
Yes.
So when you set them up and you have got a theater, yeah, of course, you know for sure it knows what kind of setup you have and will give you the best
Yes.
experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've got very good ears. It is narrow compared to the 28s. And yeah, when you listen to stereo, again, the 8s are very amazing for
Yes.
just small speakers. We also get a lot of questions from people who have the Beolab 3 and are waiting for a new solution, something in the same size, small, but use them as surround setup.
Yeah.
And that's why we are so happy with the 8s.
Oh, yes.
Because these are not even looking better, but even in sound, they are a big improvement.
Oh, definitely. I've heard these against Beolab 3s, and the bass capability of these is so much deeper.
Yeah.
So it's, whereas the Beolab 3, I felt it was nice, but it was always a compromise. It was a little bit too small. These, they've almost got the depth of Beolab 9, but maybe not quite as much volume in total. So from such a small speaker, they're incredible.
Yeah. So we always say Bang Olufsen focus on 3 pillars. Of course, that's sound, and that's what you get of the 8s. Then you've got design. They win with design because it's such a nice combination together with the theater, of course.
Yeah.
And then you've got your craftsmanship. If you
Yes.
look at the aluminium, the wood, everything that they did, it's a real Bang Olufsen speaker.
Oh, yes. And with the theatre in this setup, how do you assign the drivers? So I know some people say the main 3 drivers, when you've got side speakers, set them as centre, centre, centre. Do you change the settings like that, or do you leave
Sometimes
it all as
Yes,
normal?
that's a very good question. Sometimes we do that. In this room, we made it center, but depends also how big the room is. If you have a much bigger room, then we're thinking maybe making 2 here left, that left.
Yes.
So it makes a wider left and a wider right. But in this room, we made center and a left and a right.
Yeah.
But if the room is much bigger, for the bigger and better experience. But again, there's opinion-wise, of course, what's better. We first measure it, and then we look from, maybe it could be better on this side and that side. And that's so amazing with the last update. You can, even after measuring the sound with the microphone, you can still adjust the sound and still adjust the senses of the speaker.
Yeah. So would you say that it depends on the room as to how you would set them up?
Of course, yeah.
So I know a lot of people ask on the channel, if I buy a pair of Beolab 8s with a theatre, do I automatically put them left and right, or do I make them high and make them Atmos height speakers? But I suppose the answer is it depends on your room.
Depends on you, and of course, with the space you have, because we have got a few customers that I've got a nice cabinet here, I don't want to place anything on the cabinet, I don't have the space, but I want left and right. And of course, with the 8s, you've got 3 options, of course. You've got the wall option where you can hang them beautiful on the wall, you can place them nicely on the cabinet, but you also have the nice floor stand, around 114 high, and of course, also very nice.
Yeah. So let's see, we've got a fairly typical room here. Is this about 3.5 metres by about 4 metres?
Yeah, something like that,
Yeah. So if you were buying just one pair of 8s in here, in this space, where would you put them first?
So I'm really a movie lover, so I will place them in the back and the theater in the front. I know my colleagues are real music lover, so they would rather place them in the front because when the television is off and they want to have just a relaxing mode when they come home from work and listen, they'd rather have the stereo mode for just relaxing and enjoy real music, of course, because that's amazing. Because theater makes amazing sound, but I have to say when I place 2 speakers, just when listening to music is a whole new experience.
Oh, yes.
So again, it depends if you want to watch movies or want to listen to music, how you're going to do the setup. But that's why, you already met my manager, your drone, and our engineers. And we always come to the home and check what's the best spot for that, because we always want to give advice. So you always have the best experience also at your home.
That sounds good. I mean, my own thoughts are possibly to have, when you buy just one pair of Beolab 8s, to actually put mains power to all the corners of the room. Because it's so easy to unclip the bracket, the wishbone, and clip them on somewhere else. Maybe you could actually have wall brackets at the back.
Precisely.
And just move them in time for a movie night, and then put them back on their table stands, for example, for music listening.
If you have that possibility, 100%. Because that's of course a Bang & Olufsen with the newest speaker, and also with the 8s, it's so easy. You connect them on the Wi-Fi, or we saw with your television. You connect them, and you can just replace them how you want to. Yeah,
Yes.
and you can easily
Yeah.
move them where you want.
Yeah, excellent. So, thank you. That's really interesting and helpful, and I hope that will inspire a few people to have a listen to Beolab 8s and have a think about where they would put them in their setup.
Yeah, I'm very curious, and of
Yes.
course, thank you for coming here to our store, our beautiful store in Amsterdam, and look at our speakers, of course, the
Thank
8s.
you. Yes, I've seen them in the black, but I'm really impressed with the natural aluminium colour.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. But
Yeah.
of course, it's the original Bang Olufsen colors, of
Yes.
course. The aluminium with oak.
Yeah.
You see it almost in all our products. And
Yeah.
even with the 8s, it's really beautiful. And I would invite everybody watching this video to come to Amsterdam and see them
Yes.
and listen, of course, for yourself, because they're really amazing.
Yeah, excellent. Well, thank you very much for letting me see the setup.
Not a problem at all.
Thank you. I'd like to introduce you to Stefano from Bang Olufsen of Amsterdam. And we've got some... Right on cue.
You gotta do it again.
Yeah.